Good afternoon and welcome to the weekly show with Mike Hayes, where I bring you news, commentary, and interviews from around the cannabis industry. Today is Monday, July 27th, 2020, and it's my third episode. If you hear any construction noise in the background, that's because of a big project happening on my street. Check it out, I even got a time lapse. Pretty neat. Our main story tonight is an interview with a patient of Mind Bloom, a company that is leading the way into legal psychedelic medicine. It's an interesting interview for a couple reasons. First, it's an exciting young industry that cannabis professionals are already jumping into. And second, it's a fascinating personal story of what it's like in 2020 to have a doctor sending you legally prescribed ketamine through the mail directly to your house. But before we get to that interview, let's get to the news. Our first story tonight is an exciting development as MedPharm secured Denver's first cannabis license for research and development. For a long time, scientists have complained that the only cannabis they're allowed to study is of seriously poor quality. And they're not exaggerating. Take a look at this photo comparison. It's like studying alcohol's effect on the body by drinking paint thinner. But MedPharm's new license will allow the Schwaz subsidiary to obtain real-world cannabis products to study real-world effects. No sticks, no stems, no seeds. Said one top scientist, some real sticky icky, ooh-wee, put it in the lab. Meanwhile in Washington, D.C., it's cannabis in Congress, and I made a whole video about it. Yes, a congressional whistleblower reported this month that Attorney General Bill Barr had inappropriately ordered antitrust investigations into tiny cannabis industry mergers that didn't call for it. Barr did this even after his own experts assured him that no cannabis companies were anywhere close to winning monopoly, and most were still looking for the cards to pass go, collect $200, and even get out of jail free. Also out of Washington, D.C. this month, Senator Cory said that he and Bernie Sanders have, quote, consistent conversations regarding cannabis justice. Consistent conversations, eh, Cory? We get it. You and Sanders are burning one down on the regular. Love it. Please continue, Senator.
This is why you and I talk about marijuana justice all the time. I'm very angry. I'm all for legalization. I came to the Senate and started speaking about legalization. But to say that in the same breath and not to include expunging records, reinvesting profits into communities that have been economically devastated by the drug war, you're not talking about justice if you suddenly say, okay, everybody start from the same field.
Well said. So today we actually have two updates on this topic of making sure that cannabis profits flow into the communities that were targeted by the war on drugs. First, here in Colorado, we embarrassingly passed our very first social equity program, and the governor visited Simply Pure, America's first black-owned dispensary, to sign it into law. Meanwhile in LA, activists are skeptical as the city council tries to reform the social equity program that has gone 3 years without a single license issued. Apparently the city's rallying cry has been, if not us, then who? And if not now, how about in 3 years? Also, it wouldn't have to be us by then, right? Now on the corporate side of the industry, Acreage Holdings reportedly lost 2/3 of their value after accepting a $15 million loan at 60% interest. 60% interest. I haven't seen that kind of outrageous markup since my college friends were selling dime bags to the trust fund kids. Wait a second, who's on the board of directors at Acreage Holdings? Same kids. And finally, my favorite news story of the week. An Oklahoma dispensary has agreed to change their name after a trademark dispute with a local institution. Yes, apparently the Bank of Oklahoma was concerned that the Dank of Oklahoma might confuse customers with a similar logo and name. No word yet on what the new name will be, but I'm personally pulling for Weeds Fargo or Goldman Dime Sachs. And apparently it wasn't just the name and logo. The dispensary will also have to change their "What's in your Dank account" slogan. Said one confused customer, "Dank account? You were saying Dank account this whole time? What happened to all my cash?" Yes, it's another sad story of Americans victimized by big danks. And that's our news. And now it's time for our interview. Our interviewee, who we'll just call Liz for privacy, is a friend of a friend who is currently going through ketamine therapy for major depressive disorder. We're going to ask her about why she sought out this treatment, why she chose Mind Bloom, and what her experience has been as she heads towards her first session. Check out this conversation and stay tuned for a follow-up interview coming soon.
And don't forget to subscribe below.